One of the challenges of being a carrier is if you build your own, there are we call seasoning requirements in maybe half the states, where you have to be transacting business for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. There's even states that require 5 years to show that you know what you're doing. There are exceptions to that for experience management and things like that, but that just shows you some of the obstacles in some of the states. So I've been a lawyer in the insurance industry for almost 25 years, working exclusively in the insurance industry. So I do, trying to keep people, trying to keep clients on side, stay out of trouble. If they ever get into trouble because they've made a mistake, try to minimize the disruption to their business and minimize any enforcement action. Help clients buy companies, sell companies, help them enter into partnerships with carriers or retailers. So it really is everything having to do with how companies transact in the insurance industry. Well, most states are approachable. Certainly the professional regulators are. But it depends on what you're offering to that state, right? Is it a state that is looking to innovate in the auto insurance industry, right? Like a Michigan or places like that have obviously a big connection to the auto industry. Or is it homeowners insurance where, there's an issue with people on the coast getting coverage, right? Those are all things, and we mentioned at the beginning that it tends to be somewhat political, or at least there's a political undertone to a lot of this. Is what are you giving a state? Like what is the reason for them to have a practical sandbox, or to do something maybe a little differently, or interpret a law in a certain way that makes it more flexible? You have a product that you think the market will respond to. How do you get it to market, right? So one, it depends on the product. Do you have a customer? As Asaf said, I think the other day. Like, who's your customer, right? Do you need to control the entire customer experience in order for your product and your business to be successful? Because then if you do, maybe you want to be a carrier. But the biggest challenge in all that is how much money do you have? So, generally you can't. It's very hard to start as a carrier. Lemonade being the exception, but they had, $500 million and huge reinsurers behind them. That's an exception. Look at all the other successful startups. Hippo started as an MGA. An MGA model or an agency model will get you more quickly to market because the regulatory barrier is just need a license. It takes longer than it should, but it's still a relatively short period of time. And an MGA is really just someone who does some underwriting. It doesn't mean you're legally an MGA and regulated as an MGA, which a lot of folks don't understand, or helps to educate them on that. And where you start depends on your business model. Where do you need to focus your market, right? Does it have to be in the more populous states, larger commercial states like New York and California? Or can you go to Utah? Can you go to Idaho? Can you go to a smaller state because they have drivers too, right? Or they have people that need health insurance, right? It doesn't have to be in those larger states. If you can prove, if you're looking to do a proof of concept, you don't need to be in those bigger states. But a lot of folks want to just go right to 50 states, or they want to attack those larger markets because that's where the scale is, and that's what the investors are going to look for in the next round. Thank you. It's great to talk with you. And glad you're doing all this stuff. I have followed some of the interviews you've done. They've been great. It's just a nice part of the community to be in, where people are just talking about issues that a lot of us are dealing with.